I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could stand to for the Pledge of Allegiance. Becky, if you could lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight for our workshop. We just finished with a executive session, and I would like everybody to know that's in attendance here that we have been holding interviews for a new borough manager and also for a part-time administrative secretary, the term to use? Assistant. Part-time administrative assistant. So that's what we've been doing for the last couple weeks. So Becky, if you would do the roll call.
Councilwoman Fry? Present. Councilman Stein? Okay. Councilman Bodadian? Councilman Youngkin?
Here.
No. Councilman Hanna?
Here.
And Vice President Ondo?
Here.
President Brennan? Mayor Falls?
Here.
Borough Engineer Colin Lappert?
Here.
Chief, oh, sorry, I forgot to fix it. Chief Fuller?
Here.
Fire Chief Pletch?
Here for him.
Public Works Supervisor Vicey?
Here.
Building Code Official, Code Enforcement Officer, and Zoning Officer Cannon?
Here.
Borough Office Administrator Worth, and I'm here.
Okay, before we get into public comments, I don't know if we even have any other than Jackie, which would be considered a public comment. But if you would like to get up and let everybody know why you are in attendance tonight, and then we could discuss why you're here.
Okay. All right, so for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Jackie. I am the manager of the Munhall Sewer Authority, and we have a little office right here, out to the right. It's a smaller space, and there's two of us in there. We had I'm here tonight to discuss getting a meeting together to talk about new space at the new borough building. This is something that I had talked to Rob and previous council about back in October, and wanted to continue that since it has stalled out. I want to go ahead and get that moving forward again. There is a space dedicated already at the new borough building. It's across the hall from the tax collector's office, and the office itself is no bigger than what we have now. It is not an adequate and efficient space for the work that needs to be done with two of us in there. When both of us are on the phone, we can't get anything done. One person answers the phone, the other person has to wait. It's just not efficient. We need a bigger space. There are two gray spaces that are not currently built out on the second floor around the corner from where our office is now. It's it's next to the community room on the second floor of the new borough building. It's about 1,700 square feet. We'd be interested in obtaining that space or something similar so that we can work forward in taking the authority to the next level with hiring new employees, having adequate workspace so that we can continue to do what we do here for the borough. The authority is willing to pay a fair market price. It is totally legal to do so for rent. We have confirmed that with our solicitor and the solicitor with Municipal Authorities Association. There was also a discussion at the October meeting to talk about a build-out credit because it's going to cost the authority some money to build out that space, and whether we get 6 months of rent, in lieu of building out the space, however it works out. That is something that they'd be also willing to discuss going forward. We do want to be in the new build. We would like to stay in the confines of the municipal borough building, other than going outside of the borough building to get an office space. we can go outside the borough building to get office space, but we want to stay with where everybody else is.
Sorry.
That is really all I came here tonight to say. And, I mean, everybody has, if you don't have my contact information, Becky has it, Boomer has it, Colin has it, or I can pass out my business cards. I'll just go to my office and get them.
Does anybody have any questions?
Are you planning on, when you go in, if you go into the new building, are you planning on having somebody in there every day?
Yes.
Okay.
Our current posted office hours, which is something the authority has never had. Up until the time I started here in 2017, the authority itself never had office hours. They didn't even have an office in this building, and it stayed in operation for almost 10 years. Since I had started, the authority has regular posted office hours. We're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 to 2, and then Mondays and Fridays, we can be reached on the authority phone number at 464-7373. So we're in the building majority of the time. So we do have regular office hours.
Well, I would like to see somebody in there every day.
And that's fine. And if it's going to be me, I'm gonna speak, freely. If it's going to be me that's gonna be in there 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, then the authority's gonna have to pay me more. Because I don't make nearly what regular managers make. I do that as a benefit to the authority, a benefit to the borough. I've come here to work in 2016 after continuing a year of heavy chemo treatments. And I do that because I love the city and the borough that I live in.
Okay.
Jackie, do you have any idea of what the fair market price would actually be?
I don't know. I didn't call around. I mean, we know that those buildings at the waterfront would be kind of similar because they're like newer office buildings. I don't know if it goes for anywhere between $16 and $20 a square foot. That's pretty substantial when you look at the yearly rent on something like that. That's a person's salary.
Could you find out for us what a fair market rent would be? Like, we're talking about per square foot, correct?
Per square foot.
Yeah. Could you find out, give us a ballpark?
I mean, yeah, I could do it, and then somebody from council could do it, and we can kind of.
Does Colin have an idea what fair market is right now?
I not off the top of my head. I mean, again, whenever you ask, I mean, and I'm happy to make some calls, but it's unfinished space that you're gonna have to build out.
Yep.
So that's what we would have to determine the fair market for. Obviously, moving in there, you would have a lot, I would assume that a tenant would have, especially an authority that's part of the borough, would have use of the borough council chambers, the community room, obviously the bathrooms, all the amenities in the building. So there's quite the network, the wireless network that we just talked about, among other things. So, there's a lot of amenities there, but you're obviously gonna have to build out the space
Yeah.
as needed.
And they're fully, and the current board is fully aware of that.
How big is the room you want?
It's 1,700 square feet.
I mean,
It's a pretty big space. I mean, it would be enough for a customer lobby to where we can put out information. There's just throw it out so that you guys know. I was planning on having a station there for people who don't have the internet to pay their bill online. A computer sitting right there so that they can log on to Legal Tax's website, create an account, and pay their bill online and save a stamp. I mean, there's ways that we can make it totally efficient for the people here in this town, to where it's a one-stop shop.
just wanna, during the interim too, and that makes sense, Jackie, but they're in the initial plans and what's there is an office that's allocated for the use of the sewer authority. Right now.
Yeah, but you're saying that office that's allocated isn't,
Actually, there's two rooms allocated. There's the office, and then there's if you go
file
around there, there's like a supply room. So there's actually there was two rooms allocated to
And that supply room is that real small room.
It's like it's 12 by something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's 12 by.
Yes, it is.
Nice size closet.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a closet.
Yeah, it was stored, it was for
I
some
wouldn't
storage.
put my worst enemy in there.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason, I mean, we
There
own
ain't even a
that.
window in there.
But,
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think that the borough, or, you know, could offer you that in the interim is part of a, you know, future agreement too. But off the top of my head, $20 a square foot sounds probably.
And, you know, it's not, we had had a rather extensive conversation with Mike Witherell. He's the PMAA solicitor for southwestern Pennsylvania. And he has an office in downtown Pittsburgh. We had a conversation with him at the authorities conference last September and brought up the space at the borough building, and he said it's not illegal to pay the borough rent for a space that is adequate for your needs. It's not, it's totally legal to do that. So that was one of our biggest questions about, you know, is it legal for us to pay rent, you know, at what somebody else would pay? Because we obviously want to contribute back to the borough as well. I mean.
But then you would not consider even remotely renting something here.
What, no,
In this
there's
building?
nobody else gonna be here. And it wouldn't be $20 a square foot in this building,
No.
not even close.
You heard it, you hear.
I mean, it wouldn't be safe to be in this building by myself with nobody else here during the day.
Well, you could put a lock on the door and it's like.
Still unsafe.
It still wouldn't be safe with me being in this building by myself all day.
No.
So, I mean, does anybody else have any questions?
Is it, yeah?
I do.
Yeah,
So, I guess a couple things.
Yeah.
So, I read the email that you had. So, the 1,736 square feet, plus you also mentioned storage, so I don't know if that's included in that or not.
that is included.
Okay, so
Yes.
the 17, that's with storage,
Mhm.
okay? So, you mentioned, so if you've done a space plan in this area, you hired someone to do that for you?
No,
Okay, so that you just, the number you came up with, you came up with somehow. So what your ask is for space, and then the cost to do the construction itself. You were saying the sewer authority would do that, and then you're asking back a credit for that build?
yes, if we're gonna build out the space itself,
Okay,
whether it be, I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not 100% sure.
Most commercial places, if you build out, it's on you.
right.
If you was to go out and rent somewhere else, you would have to build it to your needs.
Okay, we had also looked at building a new facility for the sewer authority, because we're gonna have a new truck and equipment and cameras, and we're gonna have a lot of new equipment for, guys to work.
So where would you store the equipment if you have an office?
That is exactly why I want to get a meeting together. Because there's a lot of unanswered questions that we have, like, what are you guys gonna do with public works in the back? What are you gonna do with that? Are you gonna add space? Are you gonna, I mean, there's a lot of questions. If we build a garage somewhere, it has to be adequate enough to store a larger truck, a trailer with a major equipment on it. So that's also an additional expense to the ratepayers of the borough. We're just trying to keep the costs all the way around down. We already run very lean as it is. So that's what we're just trying to get to.
So you have an idea, okay?
Yeah.
What you see doesn't quite fit what you believe your needs are. So from the standpoint of a staff, okay, there are 2 individuals and you have some storage needs today. So, you know, you're speaking about equipment that, you know, trucks and things like that. So for my own edification, right there, where is all this equipment today being stored? Is it here in the borough?
I don't have it yet.
So you're looking,
Yes,
okay.
yes. We had budgeted for new equipment. We have budgeted for 2 employees it's all happening this year.
I think the big thing is we need to understand what your strategy is moving forward, to do that, because, the space, and I guess calling from the standpoint, right now, we have a couple rooms for them, but we don't have anything allocated on the property for a garage or the equipment or anything at this point, so I think we really need to understand what your plan is from that standpoint. That would be a great way to start, and I agree, we should have a meeting.
Just a discussion, it doesn't have to, there's nothing gonna be voted on or anything like that, just a kind of a roundtable discussion. Just open up the floor.
Full disclaimer, I've talked to Jackie and I've had some conversations, related to the space. There's not a potential to store trucks or, jetting equipment, tools and stuff like that at the new facility. So, your need or potential over there would just be purely office space. There would have to be some off-site storage, whether there was, existing buildings or properties that could be utilized, or public works, or something new would have to be constructed. That would have to be determined. But their needs, are, a couple pickup trucks, a heavy maintenance truck with a jetter and a camera system. You're gonna need a decent sized space. And I shared with Jackie, even pre-engineered metal buildings, small ones, are very expensive, very expensive. So, there's, put plumbing and insulation and, a storage building can be accomplished for much cheaper. But if there's gonna be people in there, even a small building, like 60 by 60, could easily be $500,000. So.
We would just rather those, that rent go to the borough instead of somebody else.
Well, where was you planning on putting the trucks?
Don't know yet. I don't know, I really don't know yet. There's not a whole lot of space here in this town. There's not. If you look around and find somewhere that has a garage or vacant land to put a garage on, I don't even know if that's the way to do it. I don't even think you could put a garage on a vacant piece of land without a house attached, right?
Well, I'd have to look at I'd have to look at the zoning, because schools aren't allowed to go anywhere. I don't know about public utility.
Theoretically,
Public utility would probably just go anywhere.
say you had two Ford F-150 size pickup trucks. Those could go outside here on the site somewhere. So you need a garage where you can store a camera, a jetter, and probably a larger size, work truck, like F-350
We're
size.
looking to get an F-350 in a trailer with a 300 PSI flusher unit.
So you need like a two-bay garage size storage.
Oh, I see, is that like the jetter we had before?
No, they're getting an actual truck.
A truck, not a trailer. We had a trailer.
We had a trailer.
I'm getting a trailer mounted flusher.
That's what.
And that's gonna have to be stored in either garage or it's gonna garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there room, if they don't have a heated garage, is there room in your garage?
We'll make room for the winter.
Yeah,
In summertime, it doesn't matter with the winter.
right.
So let me ask a question, being that we still have, Glenn, maybe, and you can answer this question, the fire hall, number 3 fire hall. What do we keep in that? Paul?
Not much. I've got plows in there, salt spreaders. There's not much room. With the paver and
No.
the roller.
Yep.
It's-
I talked to Bicey about that a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago, about number 3 fire hall. Because it would be perfect, but there's just not, they store their off-season equipment in the bay itself. And the bay, it would be perfect for what we would use it for.
So But is that a two-story? Is that
Yeah.
2 floors?
It's 2 floors.
So if number 3 fire hall became available, would you be able to put your office in there and then also store equipment?
Absolutely.
I've never been in there.
And that's zoned that way too. That would be one area up
It
there.
would need some work.
It needs
It
work.
It's,
would
the
be-
building's dry, and it's
Yeah.
in pretty decent condition, but
I just don't think the floor can hold a fire truck. It can hold probably a truck that doesn't have water, like, I mean, we're not gonna be storing water in our flusher truck, in our flusher unit. We'll have to get it before, before we use it, but it'll be,
Will that floor hold it?
You gotta look at it. You gotta-
I mean, yeah, there was there was a study done 12 years ago or something like that, when, I guess whenever they stopped using it as an actual fire company.
Well, fire truck's a lot heavier than a pickup truck.
I mean, but they put, there was some additional supports and stuff put in, we'd have to look at the condition of everything. I mean, Bob and I went through there probably about 2-3 years ago. It was the building's dry, everything's in pretty good shape.
There's water and bathrooms in there.
There's showers
Yeah.
showers and bathrooms and everything?
It's plumbed,
Yeah.
but would need to be modernized, the same thing, it would need work. You'd have to make
That'd be
it
a lot cheaper
sewer.
than building a new one.
Is it a
it would
feasible?
be a lot cheaper.
Plan.
There's a lot of,
Sure.
there's a lot of room in the back to build on or add.
Yeah, there is a lot. That
So
parking
it'd
lot's
be a
big.
very feasible thing to look at and,
I would say that would be probably your best option.
But my
So-
question would be, what would happen to the public works equipment?
well, that's what I was just gonna ask Bob. I mean, how much stuff do you actually have in here, Bob, that we, basically we use it winter plows and then store it for, 7 months out of the year? Do we have, what would we need to store that equipment? What would we need?
Could you do it in an unconditioned, could you put stuff in an unconditioned space? When I say unconditioned, no heat,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, you can do that.
You could probably, Fallowfield Township, which is in Washington County, we did a 4-bay storage facility there. No concrete floors, it was just a gravel floors, lights. It had electricity and no insulation, no HVAC, just
Right.
louvers. It was, 3 years ago, I believe it was $110,000. It's a big building. And PJ Ostrowski, who's on your planning commission, is in, he would be more than happy to give us some budgetary numbers. If there was a place to put,
What do you actually store up there?
Well, we got paver, roller, and, probably next month we'll have all the plows up there.
Can you get away with a pool barn that's open on one side? Instead of closing it all in and all that, 3-sided pole barn, it keeps all the weather out,
Keep the plows dry, that's what I like to do.
and it'll be dry, and it'll be out of the weather, and it should be a lot cheaper than $100,000.
So from what I'm hearing is, the only thing that basically would have wheels on it would be the paver, correct?
Paver, roller, that's all.
So if we would get heavy-duty racks to put in your garage over here now, and basically be able to lift the plows up on top of those racks with the backhoe, would that be another very feasible thing to do?
And then it would take up too much space.
Would it?
I got like 12 plows.
But that 3-sided building would be fine. This way you can pull right up and do it, hook everything up and pull out.
Oh, I mean,
Well, Jackie, we got, I don't know, anybody else?
I would like to understand just, what your strategic plan is, so we can make a good decision. So, I mean, that would be like what your staffing plan is and anything you've discussed. And then on top of that would be, okay, here's our office needs and everything else, because, I don't think anybody wants to do it 3 times. So I think we would be on board having the discussion based upon, what your requirements are. And I think that's a lot of things with any project, is understanding your requirements. So I don't want to make an assumption. I would say, yeah, show me your requirements.
Yeah, the sewer authority's come a long way in the last 4.5 years.
Great.
My question is, if you're up there, number 3, are you gonna feel okay up there where there's nobody up there? If the offices are up there?
There's houses.
Yeah, I mean, you have Bob Horn is right next door, and he's always watching. He's one of those guys who always watches out, and it's kind of in a residential area.
Okay, I just wanna make sure you felt safe.
Remember from a thing, they'll tell you everything. You can make sure you have cameras and,
Mhm. Yeah, I know.
locked doors, you can only allow people in or
Right, exactly.
in a car. I mean, it's come a long way. Or,
I know that.
safety.
Secure building.
Yeah, secure buildings, you only can allow people that you want in.
I mean, it was a fire hall, obviously, it was a secure building.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, even this
She
building,
didn't feel safe in here by
even this
herself. I didn't
building-
want her to not feel safe
Well,
up there.
even in this building, you can secure it.
Right.
Yeah.
So are we all in agreement that we're gonna talk about this at some point in time?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Anything else, Jackie?
No.
I would just like to see the plan, give us, a week in advance, so we're, so we can read it and understand right there instead of just working on the fly. I mean, I would appreciate that. And certainly, I think we're willing to work with you, so.
Yeah, the move is happening it's gonna be, when are you guys moving in?
We don't know.
Yeah.
Soon, very soon.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
I think it's time of the essence, we should probably get moving on it.
For Jackie, very soon could mean months.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be in here in September.
I know, it's been like a year.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get you my card with my email address on it. I don't know if you have it or not, but I'll get it for you.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, public comments on agenda items, anybody? Michael?
Yeah, the motion for the telephone system, did that go out for bid, and did we also post it? I mean, I saw the posting for the resolution 2022-1, but I didn't see anything about the telephonics bid.
I'm gonna let Bill Hanna, Councilman Hanna.
Okay?
Well, we
Or
reviewed.
Becky.
I will tell you that I spoke with Nick Ivashevich. He said as long as we posted this meeting as a voting meeting, we could add as many items to the agenda as we needed to. It didn't have to be advertised, that particular item.
Okay, and I guess, can you get an answer out of the solicitor? Because the way I'm looking at Pennsylvania state law, and I'm not a lawyer, but for $30,000, you have to put that out for bid. And what is a professional service
Are you directing
versus
that at me or at them?
whoever can speak to the solicitor?
Well, if it's a professional service,
Well, but that's just it. What is, everything that the past administrations have done, and apparently right now up to this point, this administration has done, they consider everything a professional service. According to what I'm reading in the state law, it's stating that a professional service is required by Pennsylvania Supreme Court to set a requirement, or the Pennsylvania Department of State, which means lawyers, doctors, professional engineers, elevator people, certifiers, contractors, and somebody who has to take a written test. They are the ones that are professional services. I mean, if you,
the company Telephonics, they're all licensed engineers. I mean, they're engineers. This is a professional service. There are some wiring and stuff involved, but I don't think this falls under the umbrella of construction.
Okay, but, so if that's the case, I mean, somebody has to go and take a janitorial course and gets a certificate, so then that's professional service. And if somebody, you know, any job you have at this point in the world requires some type of certification, even flipping burgers, I mean, you'll see, that, you know, they've given a certificate to somebody for that. So what is a professional service in the state of Pennsylvania? That is my question, because anywhere else I've gone, anything like this, I would have 3 companies on my tail because you didn't post it, you didn't announce it, I'm suing. Now, whether, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, Telephonics, to me, it's a good company. I'm sure Mr. Hannon knows about it as much more than I do, but are we going to follow the law, and what is the law? And apparently that seems to be a gray area here as to, because your bid is over, your requirement's over 30,000, I think you're up to what, 22,000, anything? You know, in one part of the law, it says anything over a certain dollar amount, you have to put out for bid.
For construction contracts, if it's $22,000 or over, it has to be publicly bid. If it's between 11 and 22, it requires 3 written quotes. So less than 11 doesn't require anything. But again, I don't want to misspeak here. I'm not an attorney. I'm just an engineer. But my understanding is that this is a professional service. That they do all the camera security work for the borough, the police department. They are already. We're asking them to transfer and provide similar service at the new building. And Bill can elaborate on exactly what
they are the current provider. They
Right.
provide the telephone service here. So the telephone service is through Comcast, the internet service is through Comcast. The telephone system is supported by Telephonics today, the existing system here. What has been purchased is a new system for the new building itself. Okay, so that's all of that was done with other funds. Okay, the quotes we have today are for additional cabling into the police area, 2 911 call boxes, a video camera system for the new council chambers, and the overall network equipment that would be used for the internet delivery,
Right.
inbound, network switches, 12 access points, and those networks, the networks would have segregation between the borough and the police, as is mandated.
Right.
And the telephone system is a voice over IP telephone system, and it will connect to that network itself. Discussion on Wi-Fi is going to be, are we going to offer public Wi-Fi, which being we have a community room, my guess is we would talk to the solicitor right there and, you know, set up a banner page right there with a set of terms and conditions itself. This equipment is needed to finish the transition over into the new building.
I don't debate the fact of the need. I'm
Sure.
just questioning, I mean, if it's being purchased out of non-public funds, fine. But if it's being purchased out of public funds,
Actually, a large part of it is being financed by the police department.
and that's not part of this $30,000 though.
Yes, it is.
It is, okay, so police are paying for everything, all the new equipment, everything.
They're not paying
Well,
for
not all of it,
everything,
no.
but actually, the part that the borough's paying for is probably, even if it was construction, it would probably be less than $10,000.
And here goes the definition. Professional service firms exist in many different industries. They include lawyers, advertising professionals, architects, accountants, financial advisors, engineers, and consultants, among others. Basically, they can be any organization or profession that either offers customized, knowledge-based services to the clients.
So that's anybody.
Well, that's what the definition of
Okay.
professional services. And I think even in the meeting today, they said they were engineers.
They were certified, the cabling is
Right.
from Belton. They're certified, Belton, we get a 25-year warranty. So they're certified with Ericsson telephone systems and Ubiquity Network equipment and stuff, okay? That they're gonna provide us warranties on both of them, right? They're 5-year warranties, so,
It's okay, I understand, I've dealt with the telecommunications.
sure.
Okay, to me, there's more than one telecommunications company, and if I were AT&T or Verizon, I mean, we're small potatoes, but there's always that oddball out there. But, okay, if you guys aren't worried about it, as long as my taxes don't go up if we're sued, fine. Because from what I'm seeing, according to you folks, nothing is not a professional service. So if the state auditors don't care, fine. You guys go ahead and keep doing the way you're going. And I hope you're right, don't get me wrong. To me, it's a lot easier than having to bid. It's a lot easier than having to write sole source justifications. It's a lot easier than doing all the work that most of the rest of the country has to do. So, okay. And then the other portion, the dedication service, I was curious, but you're saying we still don't know when. And are we going to get not only the punch list, but everything else that's wrong, or I should say needs attention in the new building? Are we going to have that completed before we take possession? So that, or, stop payment to the contractor so that we get the work done?
Yeah, we're still holding their final money. Dave and I just walked through there today. They've already corrected many things. We're gonna get the final walkthrough scheduled within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
I'm sure there's gonna be stuff that's ongoing as the borough gets settled in. We have, a maintenance bond, and also, the contractors in Homestead. So they'll come back and they'll fix stuff that needs to be fixed.
Well, I hope so. I mean, normally, once the contractor has the majority of their money, it's tough to get them back.
They already have the majority of their money. We're only holding a small retainage right now.
Yeah, and so how fast has that punch list gotten done? I mean, did the toilets work yet?
Yes. Yeah.
All the toilets work now?
Yes.
And the electric panel, was that original, or did they put a new one in? Because to me, the electrical panel I saw, it looked like it was the original panel and original breakers, and there were no markings as to what the circuit represented.
It's all new wiring, panels, everything.
Okay.
Inspected by a third party.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't see the inspection sticker yet.
It's inspected, we have a permit.
Like, I looked at it, it's a new thing.
Okay, thanks. That's it.
Anybody else? Okay, before we get into items for consideration, I'm going to ask, Chief, do you have anything that you'd like to? Chief?
Busy couple days.
So we're here.
You sleepy?
A little bit.
A little crazy. I seen you guys were down at the high rise last night.
Well, we had the collapse at the church at 9th and Dixon, and then we were assisting Homestead with the power outage down there, and then we had the house fire up on Homestead Duquesne Road today.
Yeah, I seen that today.
So
That's a total loss, ain't it?
there's significant damage. I don't know if we'll total it yet.
It looks pretty bad when I went by.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple days.
Yeah, you guys been busy. God bless you.
David?
Two things. When he just cleft over rock, they had their insurance adjuster down there today. They'll have a structural engineer in there tomorrow. I condemned the building until the public, or the engineer says it's okay for anyone to be in there. Second thing is, Colin and myself just went through the building. The Public Works finished the glazing of the windows, so I could issue a temporary, as of today, for us to go into that building.
So next week's meeting will be on
I got
there.
all the sign-offs and everything. No, I'm saying it as of today. I'm gonna issue it as of tomorrow, for tomorrow.
We can't have next week's because I didn't advertise it over
Yeah.
there.
Nice.
Next month we can.
Okay. Bob?
All I have is we're working on a paving list for this year. Me and Colin. I'll have pictures of the streets that we're gonna pave or look into and pave. And another thing,
It keeps growing.
the fire today, I let the employees that are firemen go. I only do it if the construction. I just want council to know that, we don't have the firemen in the afternoon like we used to.
That's on common practice.
So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely calming
Yeah, but
down.
I don't know if everybody knows that I do that.
I don't know that.
Yep,
I mean, I think if it was your.
They might be coming to save our houses one day.
Right.
Exactly.
absolutely.
The Munhall guys that saved my house once.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
pet to have. You
Yeah.
have them, here already,
You guys took care of my house, I'm thankful.
Colin?
You do so much.
I stayed today to just talk a little bit about, it's item for consideration 1 on your agenda, if you'd like me to get into it. Or do you want me to wait?
I don't know the product, do we make the motion and then Colin speaks?
Well, we can motion it, read it, get the motion, a second, and then have questions on the motion, or he can just discuss it. He can discuss it.
Do you want to discuss it first?
I'll just
That way
discuss it.
everybody
He may be able to
understand what it's
answer
about.
questions
Yeah.
on the motions right by his report.
So, already, I brought a couple copies to share with council. Bill already shared one with you.
Correct. Thanks.
I didn't bring enough for everyone, I'm sorry. It's a lot of paper, we're trying to save trees. At the last Borough Council meeting, was it the meeting or the workshop? Starting to run together. But Jamie Glasser from Commonwealth Consulting Partners came here. She told us about a grant opportunity that's called the statewide local share account opportunity. It's LSA. Long story, Sherry told you a little bit about the program, but long story short, there's $144 million statewide. It's open up, everyone can submit on projects up to $1 million. So as we were brainstorming for ideas, Council President Brennan said, how about Main Street? We need to do some work up there. Try to listen to what everyone had to say. It seemed like the overwhelming consensus that there's those old brick pavers at the crosswalks and all up and down Main Street, that those need to get out of there. We need to put in compliant ADA ramps. People wanted to see more benches, more tree boxes, better lighting, but I actually counted, there's 98 light poles between Miller and the park school.
But if we're getting grant money, can we update them because they are getting a little old?
They look okay. I didn't include it. I mean, if we add electrical, so let me tell you, it's up to $1 million just addressing all the ADA curb ramps and taking out the brick in the parkways, putting like plantings in. We can do like green. We're at $983,000.
Yikes.
Well, then we better not.
But that's
Change my tune real quick.
that's everything from Miller all the way up to Park School. And the nice thing about this project is that there's a good chance, if Munhall is successful, they might give us a fraction of what we asked for. But this project is easily scaled back. We can't really scale it up. But I think the logic when I talked to Jamie, and I'm sure council would agree, is why, don't negotiate with yourself. Ask for everything up front, and if they tell us that only half of this is available or a quarter of it's available, we'll make do and we'll adjust the project size. So, but this is essentially what I did. This is probably too much information for council, but just so you guys can, here's a map, here's all the intersections, here's the cost estimate that we prepared. I sent this over to Jamie. The motion that you're voting on today is to basically approve them. It's required for the grant application. This is what we're submitting. I guess with that being said, does that make sense to everyone? Are there any questions, or any revisions or work that, we think could be taken out or is needed, not needed, more input? The one thing for next week's meeting, I'm gonna include some examples, some past streetscape projects we've done, some renderings and photos to show you kind of stuff we can incorporate with tree boxes and plantings and stuff along the parkway. But this would be a really nice project for Munhall, even if we were able to only do part of it, so.
Anybody have any questions for Colin? Okay, Mayor, I know that you wanted to speak, but is it okay? I was gonna wait till we gotta go through
The meeting, that's fine, we can do that at the end.
Okay, Becky, if you would like to read the motion?
Sure. Motion to approve Resolution 2022-1, the appendix requesting the statewide local share assessment grant in the amount not to exceed $1 million with no match needed.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Youngkins,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Stein. All those in favor?
Yes.
Any questions?
Any questions on that, on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Motion to approve the contract with Telephonics for a telephone and computer installation at 1860 West Street for an amount not to exceed $30,000.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Councilman Hannah,
Second.
Councilman Youngkins. Any questions on the motion? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous? Jason, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. We're going to go with council items. So maybe Becky, I might let you
That's
handle this, but okay, would you like to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be
fine.
perfect because you probably know more about it than anybody else, so.
Well, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so there is a piece of property in the public works area in the back that basically splits that big parking lot in half and then goes down over the hill about 20 feet down, pretty much straight down. We received a letter from a company this week who is asking to buy that piece. I didn't know where it was. I absolutely did not know where it was, and I had to look up the lot block to figure out what they were talking about. So at that time, I had the letter, and Rick was here, and he said, well, no, we're not selling the public works property. But he did say, did you notice that it's in West Homestead? And I did notice that the municipality said West Homestead. So it is a borough of Munhall piece of property that's located in West Homestead. So he said he wanted to make sure that you all got a copy of it so that you could discuss the possibility of approaching West Homestead to annex annex that piece back to the Munhall. And that's pretty much all there what it really was to the conversation. So he's just putting it out there to see, I guess, one, has anybody ever annexed it before? And two, would you be interested in doing the annex? He said he would discuss it with you all, but he really was not interested in selling his property.
I guess nobody knew that we own property in West Homestead, did you? Because I know I didn't know it. When does this gentleman need an answer?
He did not give a specific.
He did not give specific? So I would probably say that if we do have, for next week's meeting, if we do have an executive session, that we will probably discuss this and decide what we would like to do with that, because it's our property, you know? So, is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Can I ask one thing? That, maybe I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong, but I thought this was the one that had the deadline for March 1st. No? Thank you. Okay, 'cause I was
I
gonna say-
believe the bid demand put forth had a deadline of March 1st, which is already
Correct,
exceeded.
it
So,
passed.
right.
So I just wanted to state that.
I guess the only thing I would say is it would be good to understand the upside and the downside, regardless of what West Homestead would do or not do. I mean, I think and maybe Greg can answer that question for us.
Right. And now that we're all aware of what it is, we can discuss, you know?
can't pay tax.
Right.
So,
I have a question about the print-offs from the county website, though. The property address listed as Homestead, but the municipality is West Homestead, so which is it?
They all say Homestead because it's now.
That, yeah, I
I
guess.
just wonder how West Homestead got something up that high.
I don't know how we own something that's in West Homestead.
Yeah, people have asked me, how did we get it, how is it in West Homestead? We own
Yeah,
it. I don't know if it was traded off, or
Plus,
the reline, the lines were done years ago or
Because
something, I don't know.
Plus, we used that back there. They were, I mean, they used, was the Homestead used that back there. West Homestead never used that property back there. We've used it, Homestead's used it, but West Homestead never used it.
I don't know, Bob, did you know that?
I knew some of that property was West Homestead, I didn't know exactly which part.
I saw an old map.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, we own the property, but it's in West Homestead.
That don't make sense.
So somewhere back along the line.
Yeah,
They were
somebody
doing
did
the
something.
lines.
Or for a right away,
Yeah,
but we're using it.
Before the old Homestead Hospital, they used it for a parking lot.
Right.
Maybe down there, they got
yeah.
Any other questions on that? Or, so we're gonna probably discuss it further. Okay, now I did not write this, but this is boards and committees. So I don't know if he is appointed, if he's gonna be appointed, if he even wanted to it, but it has Dave Youngkins added to the sewer authority.
He has been at,
Because we have somebody who, his term ran out and he has been
he
added.
has been at.
Okay, so Councilman Youngkins is added to the sewer authority as a,
Wouldn't that take a vote though, council? To do that, I don't think you can just add somebody without a vote.
do we have to vote on that?
I believe you do, they were all,
I don't know, right?
all the prior sewer authority members have been voted on.
Okay, so we'll just put it on the
I mean,
agenda.
that's
We're gonna
my
put it on there for,
remembrance.
we'll just
So
put it
this
on.
is something to think about, you know, this was put on here, so we could vote on it next week.
Yeah, we're gonna put it on as a motion.
Yeah, because I don't remember us, just putting somebody on, they've been voted on
I didn't ask
in
them.
the past.
So the person whose term expired, does he just not want to come back?
No, he did work, but,
I think it's Joe Dallas's spot, I think that
So
Joe
did-
didn't want to come back.
Did he express his interest in coming back? That
Yeah.
So
sounds
it was a
like-
letter.
yes. it
Okay,
was.
so then there's more than one person open for the seat, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'd have to have like a roll call vote.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
we would have to
okay.
do that.
So it would definitely take a vote, unless it was,
Right.
even if there was only one person, I think you still needed.
Right,
to vote on
yeah.
it.
I was asking them, you know.
So then I'm guessing that the second one, the enterprise zone needs an additional person, but that would have to be somebody from the council itself.
Yes, correct.
I know that me personally, I am on 6 or 7 of the committees as it is. I know that I am personally not interested in being on the enterprise zone. Do we have anybody who would like to be on the enterprise zone?
I think that's Mark Fallon's spot, right?
Yes, Mark Fallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody know what it is?
I'm on there now, but I was just appointed. Rick was on there before me.
What is it?
It's the 3 boroughs, West Homestead, and Munhall. And it is a board that meets to do things down, and they give loans out. I'm just learning it myself. They loan, it seems like they loan businesses money in the district down there that are in that 8th Avenue, and Main Street does count. Anywhere business districts does count. And they do, from what I understand is they help loan money, low interest loans. They have about, if my remembrance is right, from what I heard, I don't have my notes from the meeting, but I think it was about $800,000
Oh, wow.
that they have, that they're sitting on, that they've, through the years have got through grants and so forth. But I've only attended one meeting so far.
When they have
Last month, learning it. It is the 3rd Monday of every month. The next one is the 21st of March. I mean, anybody can attend, but you'd have to be a member to vote. So if anybody wanted to attend.
Does it have to be a council member? Rob?
I think in the past it has been a council member, and I almost think like the mayors are an automatic appointment to it unless they would decline.
So the 3 boroughs are involved with we're saying the money.
All three boroughs, it's not
Waterfront.
council, there's council people from Homestead, there's council people from West Homestead on the board. I talked to Mayor Burwell, he's interested in being on it. I'm not sure if Mayor Dindek's on it, but I think he has gave his spot to maybe Dave High or something. Maybe somebody else from West Homestead on it too.
And it would involve the waterfront, Main Street, and maybe, I don't know, 8th Avenue?
And 8th Avenue, definitely 8th Avenue, a lot of it's 8th Avenue. A lot of the members on it are from the 8th Avenue Business District.
Businesses. That's what I would think, the waterfront and that.
Now, we have that Main Street Business District too. Joe Sotero was on the board, you know, at one time too. I think Joe's still on the board.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's a businessman's, it's for businessmen, it's set up for businessmen in that district. But a lot of the things that need to be taken back sometime, they need to be taken back to your council to tell them what's going on. And then maybe sometimes your council may need to, you know, make a council vote whether they want to go with what is going on with the enterprise zone needs to do.
Anybody interested?
Got my hands full right now.
I actually just stepped down from the Munhall Democratic Committee, I just don't have the time with work.
Okay, so that's something that we could put on the back burner. So the next one would be the zoning board hearing. We need an additional person on that because of Mr. Burke. I don't know, Beck, did he resign? Is he,
Well, let's, I'm gonna
He's not
say,
the
I'm
best
gonna
out.
Yeah,
say
he's not
no.
capable.
We're talking about Tommy Burke?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no, he
Yeah,
didn't
he's not,
resign.
I don't know if he's capable of even resigning at this point in time.
Yeah.
uh,
Due to health issues, we'll put it that way. Due to health issues, he's not maybe in his right state.
yeah. Is anyone interested in that? No?
That doesn't have to be a councilman, that can be,
Everybody.
you can
Can we
advertise for
advertise?
that.
We could advertise
We
for
can
that?
advertise for that and, you know, put a borough resident on it.
Okay.
So here's something that in fact, we were talking about today, the cleaning company for the new borough building. I know that we got bids and stuff in for the cleaning company, but are we going to hire a cleaning company to come in, or are we gonna use our own people?
You looking at me?
No. Yeah, I was, yeah. Because we have a gentleman who works here and he cleans this building. And there was talk about another fellow from the street department that was gonna quite possibly go over the new building and work with, is his name Zach?
Mm-hmm.
So, either A, we're gonna have to discuss whether we employ our own people or we hire out. Yes, sir.
I would like to put another guy from my crew in the new building. I think with that building, we need somebody a little bit more mechanical. They told us what we gotta check the furnaces. I would rather have one of our guys trained to do that, because then they could help clean that building. This building's gonna have to be taken care of too.
Yes.
And then another thought was, we have to move this fence on this field all the time. I think it would be better if we had the two janitors come on, maintain this field, because they're maintaining the bathrooms anyway. They could come out and move the fences, would save my guys from doing it every other day. That would keep them busy, they'd have 3 buildings plus the field. And then you're saving $30,000.
So here's the thing, two borough employees over there cleaning this building and also maintaining this building and also doing that. Don't you think that we're like really spreading them pretty thin?
No.
You think that they could maintain that building over there? Really?
Yeah.
Colin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, just to look, I mean, we're gonna have to develop, I mean, cleaning it's one thing. It's a big building, but, you know, 2 people should be able to do that on a weekly basis. Then there's gonna have to be a schedule of this is how often we have to check rooftop unit filters and, you know, whatever. I mean, all that stuff, it's not gonna need to be done every week, every day.
Maybe two times a month.
Once a month. We need to check on the grinder pump. And, you know, there's gonna be, like we were talking about earlier, there's gonna be times where there's just an issue pop, like when water was coming in that conduit. You know, there's gonna be stuff like that that just pops up where you, I mean, Bob would know much better than me, but it seems doable. I don't think that taking care of that building would be a full-time job.
Plus, the guy that takes care of this building, his father's in bad shape. And I think if something happens to his dad, he might have a problem with him. You know what I'm saying? So if we could get somebody else trained, and then if something would happen, we would have at least one guy still.
Who you suggesting to put over there?
Well, I like to make up a bed sheet and see who,
Go by seniority?
yeah, or see who wants it. Just put a, you know, see who could check the filters, who could, you know, fix a plug or whatever.
Troubleshoot issues.
Troubleshoot and, you know.
But we're still gonna need a company to come in and do a deep cleaning at least once a month, I would think. No?
No, maybe once a quarter, maybe.
Really?
If you maintain a building on a daily basis, you can keep it pretty
And
clean.
when he talks,
Cleaning.
Yeah.
when he talks about the schedule, there will be a bathroom cleaning schedule, and when we do the floors schedule, and when we do the hallway schedule, and, yeah, and they have to initial out, because if something doesn't get done right, we need to be able to go to the right person and say, you wrote here that you cleaned this bathroom, and you
Yeah.
need.
It's nice, being where, you know, it is a union shop back here. Now, I mean, pretty much you're gonna have to write up some things that you don't, so you get people that are qualified that can go for that job.
Well, we're not splitting atoms here. I mean,
So we just can't take,
we're talking about checking filters
Okay.
and.
So that's all, yeah, it nothing
But what
to
we have right now is,
Vacuum.
mechanic, there's nothing too mechanical involved in that.
well,
All right.
what we have now is, you
Reading, writing, Bob.
know what I mean, the guy we have now, I don't,
Oh, no, and, yeah, but as I said, this was a union
we just
shop.
need
You
somebody.
need to make sure you can get the right person in the job.
You mentioned about checking the filters and checking the grinder pump. I don't remember seeing that in any of the bids we got from cleaning companies, so I don't even think that's in their scope for the money.
No.
So
They're just,
No.
that's something we'd be doing on our own anyway.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, for Andrew, to probably show us what to do.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have O&M manuals for all the equipment that's in there. And like I said, a lot of it's gonna be troubleshooting, and I mean, there's gonna be stuff like you're not gonna repair, but just knowing
Who to call.
who to contact, what's under warranty, what's not, you know, having a local electrician or calling Franjo over, whatever it is to fix something.
Mike got a question.
Kevin?
Michael?
You're talking two different things here.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking public works maintenance. You're talking, started talking janitorial.
Yes.
Okay, so have you worked out how many man hours it's going to take to clean that building and what work is to be done? And have you guys worked out how many man hours it's going to take and what work has to be done for the maintenance? I mean, because you've got glass in that building, and as you say, you know, certain things are going to have to be done daily, weekly, monthly, on the janitorial side, and then quarterly and annually, and the same thing with your guys as to however often the equipment has to be done.
We already have bids. No, we already have bids
We have
that came
bids
in
for
for the cleaning companies to come in. This, what we're doing right now is just basically food for thought, because it was discussed about actually having one or two guys from the street department to go over there, because if the cleaning company comes in, they may only do Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or whatever they might do.
Do any of your bids show we will clean the bathrooms
Yep.
Yes,
3 times
They
a
all
week?
do.
Yes.
We will wax it, okay, so they've told you what they're
Yes.
going to do and how often?
yes.
And they're all the same?
Yeah. Pretty much, and
Pretty much.
we can, actually, if we could plagiarize their schedule, if we end up doing it with our guys.
Yeah. This is just a food for thought
I'm just looking to save from paying a cleaning company to come in something.
Well, but if you're gonna be paying union wages on, to me, a public works employee, and I could be wrong, but when you're talking somebody somewhat specialized, you're gonna have to handle HVAC and electrical and so forth, you're paying them more money normally than you're paying somebody who is doing the floors and the.
But we haven't decided whether they're gonna work a 5-day work week in that building. They may only go there, right, Bob? They may only go there 2 days a week because we have light bulbs burned out, or it's the time period where they're gonna go in and change filters or something in the air handlers or whatever.
Right, and for that, to me, you need somebody a little more specialized.
Yes.
But to pay somebody the same wage that's handling the HVAC or the lighting or whatever, and they're running a sweeper, I would question, where's your break point? You know, is it more profitable to have the public works guys and have them clean for so many hours, or is it more profitable to pay our public works guys just to do public works work and pay the cleaning companies to do the cleaning?
We haven't even discussed this. This is just a food for thought where we probably will discuss it.
Yeah.
You know, nothing is set in stone. We didn't even pick a cleaning company yet. You know, I mean, we're not even in the building yet.
Right. Well, I mean,
So, you know, this is just something that we're gonna think about, and, you know, Bob might be able to release one guy for 1 or 2 days a week to go there and go through the whole building and say, okay, you know what? Light bulbs, or whatever it might be, or a hinge, or whatever it might be on, that's, you know.
right. But that's not, you're not gonna get the janitorial company to fix the hinges
No.
and that kind of stuff.
No,
But also, we have this building to take care of.
right.
So we're not
Yeah.
just looking at one, we gotta look at two.
Well, it depends on how far you want to take it. You got 2 buildings, you got a ball field here, you've got the other public grounds. I assume they have restrooms that are cleaned, and I guess right now our guys are cleaning them. I don't know, but
Our janitor only does this building right now, and he does this field. Okay, the rest of the fields, our guys will do. So that's why I said there'd be enough work for 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, moving that fence is, the 2 guys will take probably an hour a day,
They move it every day.
depending on
The
the baseball schedule.
Who's there? Yeah. Something to think about. Okay, the next thing, dedication service for the new borough building. To be honest with you, I haven't even thought about the dedication service. I mean, do we have to even think about it right
We
now?
don't even need to talk about
No.
it tonight.
Yeah, that's, you know,
Table
that's
that for
something
next
we
time.
can table and, you know, go from there.
Just put it in the back of your mind.
Yep. Okay, last thing. Mayor Falls, do you have something?
Yeah, there's like kind of 5 things, I'll try to go through them quickly. Our police testing we don't have a list, it's expired. I believe with the many retirees as we're having, which could be up to 5, I believe, Chief, that we need to get a police testing started, because even if we do want to hire, once the police testing starts, after talking with Chief Fuller and Dr. Spellman, it could be 6 months before we can even put somebody on, after all the testing is done, and psychological testing, physical testing, interviews, the written test, and so forth. So I believe I would like to see us put on an agenda, to authorize this. And I also had a talk with Dr. Spellman, who's the chair of the Civil Service Board, and he would like to get a meeting together with, all of council could come, if we'd have to advertise, or the Public Safety Committee, because he said he has some ideas that he would like to talk to us about. So if we could set up a meeting with the Civil Service Board, that would be Dr. Spellman, and we can get in contact with him.
Okay,
And maybe, I don't know, maybe what we want to wait till the president, till Rick comes back too. I'm sure he may want involved in it.
I'm
Because I
sure.
did talk to Rick briefly before he left, and I know he would want involved in it also. The other thing that I have is Trautman Field. I've had, requests from them of things that they need, basically because I live across the street, I think. Who is the chairman of rec now? Is it you, Reenie?
We haven't even had anything yet, but yes, I would like, once we get over there, I think
Yeah.
it'll be a lot easier.
Some things that they need down there is, and that they bring to my attention, is they're having some problem with vandalism, and I've known it, I've seen it too. And they would like to put cameras up, which they would do out of their own dime, but they need the Wi-Fi. I think at Woodhill put their own cameras up, but the borough gave them the Wi-Fi. So they would like Wi-Fi so they could put cameras up to help prevent some of the vandalism that they have down there.
Councilman Hannah?
I guess I have a question. In reference to the cameras that are existing at, the other field, or do the police monitor the cameras, or? So I guess, putting up, everyone loves cameras, I guess, but
Right.
do they plan to monitor them themselves? Do they plan to put in a video recorder?
That's, I'll find out, we can do that,
Yeah.
because they're actually also requesting a meeting too.
Right, I see.
Because there's some needs they have before the baseball starts up. One, last year, the flagpole, we had that bad storm in August, I don't know if it was a microburst that hit here, but the flagpole split in half, they don't have a flagpole right now at Trautman Field. They need a flagpole. I know it probably wouldn't be up in time for baseball, but there's still no playground equipment at Trautman Field. That was one of their other requests. And the restrooms are the same restrooms since probably, Mr. Hannah and Jason's kids were playing there. I guess, your kids were playing there. It's the same wooden stalls. They would like to get the restrooms spruced up a little bit. The wooden stalls are just really beat up down
Rob.
there.
What's the gentleman's name that you're talking to?
DJ, I'm known to mess up his last name, Svillar, I believe it is.
Okay, because I have a gentleman that asked to speak next week.
Svillar, is that, is it?
No,
DJ?
his name's Fred.
Fred
Kinsel,
Kinsel.
Fred Kinsel, okay.
and wants to speak about the same issues.
Okay, I think I met with Fred before.
So I didn't know if they were the same guy and it was the same issues.
I
didn't
thought
know.
DJ was the president, but that's,
He
yeah.
might be.
But anyone can speak though,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
So some of the same issues that I'm bringing
Yeah,
up that
same
this
thing.
DJ has related to me. And
Yeah,
I
identified
believe
him.
in the thing, was you on this thing, is it a hot water heater
No, he didn't talk about
or
that.
something? Okay. But maybe the best thing we'll listen to them, hopefully Fred comes up and speaks next week and maybe we can sit down with them and get a meeting before
Well, is
their.
that something that Bill Campbell's,
I mean, Campbell was just recently, a couple years ago, gave $400,000,
Yeah.
and that was for basically the fields, and they redid the dugouts.
but I mean, we're talking not that much
We
money to
didn't get
get.
any stalls or anything like that, no, they didn't get that. Nothing like that was spent on it. I think it was like close to $400,000 that Campbell gave them
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Would it be worth it to us, for us to look into, talk with,
I mean, to talk to Joe Duclair,
Joe,
like Joe's
yeah.
the contact for the Campbell Foundation.
yeah,
I mean, I could, try to reach out to Joe. I mean, anybody else wants to too, they
You
can.
gotta be careful about that, because the
Yeah.
softball association wrote their own grant proposal and
Yeah,
went to them and got it on their own. They didn't ask us to get involved. So if we do it for baseball, they're probably gonna look for some payback.
good idea.
and I know that the girls softball, I know that I was approached, because I live right there, I was approached by them because the little field, they can't play evening games because they want another telephone pole with a light on it, I mean, I don't know, is that our responsibility?
If we were flush with cash, maybe.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was actually hoping to, to be able to get a hold of like Duquesne Light or something, say, hey, could you do this as a, like a,
Okay,
Sometimes they will do, Duquesne Light will put a pole in for free, because they know you're gonna get that, they're gonna get that
Let me
money.
get the money.
yeah, I mean, and all they're looking for is a light so they can play like dusk games, you know? Because that field sits vacant up until whatever time they're still playing on the big field.
They have fundraisers for these baseballs and girls softballs and all that. Do they have fundraisers for them anymore?
You know, and I thought about that too, because, like I said, I live right there, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn or something like that, but I'll tell you what, girls softball, I know that there's hundreds of people up there. They make a ton of money on their concession stand. They make a ton of money on their cornhole.
Look at some of their books and you'll question where that money goes. Well,
I mean-
I did it one year and I questioned.
I mean,
It's an easy
I
question.
had the Auditor General one time, and he said, if we started opening those books,
Oh,
everybody's going to jail.
yeah. I mean, it's bad. I mean, there's no cash receipts or nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
It's bad.
the fields, they maintain the fields very well up there, but my God, I mean, I see
Yeah.
hundreds of people, and then when they have the opening day ceremony, Rob, we've been there,
Oh, yeah.
there's thousands of people there.
I know the guy that does Greenfield, and they charge still like $50 to join their leagues.
Yeah.
All the way up, they pay for everything. I said, Kieran, how do you do it? He goes, concession stand.
Yeah.
He goes, why don't you guys do it? I said, we have a concession stand, but we charge $150. This is 10 years ago.
Well,
It's,
can I?
someone should audit the books every year
Yeah.
at these organizations.
Absolutely, you'd think.
I have a little experience in that.
Me too. Up in
Running,
baseball.
you know, because I was for a couple of years the president of the Munhall West Hempstead Baseball Association. So a couple things that, Mayor, if they haven't asked, that's great, but I think the ask in reference to cameras and internet and everything, you know, should be, you know, specific right there so we can sit there and say, well, what do you really want? Because if I sat there and said buzzwords like internet and artificial intelligence and cloud and, it means, you know, we can all think up a definition.
Yeah.
So to me, if we're gonna have clarity about an ask, we really need to know what you want, okay? So we can make a decision. Like example, you know, if police departments don't monitor the cameras, what are the use of the cameras? Okay, do you have an internet connection there today? Do you plan to stream the games? Is that the idea? I mean, so it's like, that would be the question itself. Sure, I mean, we can use Wi-Fi to shoot the signal across the field, the different cameras, and yeah, we could go from small cameras to lots of cameras. I mean, so I think that's big. The other thing, experience was, and my experience was, unfortunately, sometimes right there in, you know, youth sports, things walk. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
But what we do need to make, because I had to address this issue, we had to make sure that they're in good standing with the state as far as a nonprofit, because that's one of the things we had to address, because they had not, you know, they did not have the proper paperwork. So, I mean, I look forward to having the discussion one, because baseball is a great sport.
Basically, that's what they wanted, was a discussion, they had some needs, and
That's
they wanted
fantastic.
to see what we could, what the borough could help with,
Yeah.
whether it be the Wi-Fi, but that's good questions on the camera. I agree, who's gonna monitor them, and,
Right.
I mean, that's a good question, and we need to know who's gonna be monitoring
Right.
that.
So maybe the person that's coming next week to speak at the council meeting, we could contact him and say, hey, can you come with a plan?
Yeah, we'd like to come up, like previously, the example was all the lighting. You know, this is a number of years ago, we're talking almost 20 years ago now, okay? The reality, we had a fish fry, okay? We had it done, and we held a fish fry. We used that as a fundraiser, okay? That fundraiser allowed us to do so. We fixed the lights that were in disrepair. Since then, they've been replaced. You know, we did some electrical work, and we did the bathrooms, actually, at that time. Because that was a new building, it had the second floor added. That area that had the, you know, that's under where the bleachers are, that was actually, we got that from Lowe's. You know, or it was Heckinger's, I think, it was actually Heckinger's. And, you know, put that up. But I think the big thing is we understand what they're going. I mean, I personally came to this council in reference to Westfield years ago, where we had some money that we wanted to, from baseball, to assist with Westfield at the time, you know, in reference to some third concerning, it didn't end up going through, but the reality is, I think we'd love to meet with them to understand what they're doing. And we kind of did it all ourselves. I don't know what the cost is, but this is a long time ago. I think the highest one we did was about $60. You had to sell some candy. Times changed.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not 2002, I realize that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think maybe hold off till the speaker comes next week, maybe.
Great.
Becky, you can reach out to them.
Yeah.
And tell them that, be specific what they need and what their
Yeah.
plans are, or what are they putting into it too? What are they doing with it too? What's their part?
Okay.
I know that some of the ones, installation, that they have people that can install things for them.
Right.
That some of the stuff, wouldn't need to be installed.
I think
But I think they probably want us to come down sometime. I think that's what we're gonna get. They want us to come down to the field. I don't even know, Bob, do you have a key for there now, Bob? Do we still have a key? Okay.
So today, we're still paying the utilities on the lighting. I know the
Oh,
borough
yeah.
did before.
Yeah.
Paid
All
the utilities.
Water
And-
and utility, water, like,
Okay.
we got like a $5,000 water bill from there, last year?
Yeah, because
That's when they put the new
It's
turf
They put
in.
the new turf and they kept the water on
24.
Yeah.
It was raining the day we figured out it was still on.
I went over personally, turned it off.
Yeah.
And
I think it would be a good idea to have a meeting with them to
But
set
the-
the expectation.
The communication though is great.
And you-
Communication with them is great.
Sure.
I just have a couple more. I had a thing about Orchard Street, a resident of Orchard Street asked me, with all the construction going on, they pretty much said Orchard Street's a mess, and it's more directed to Bob, and I don't know if they had it or not, but they would like a bigger sign, that there's no outlet, if it could be higher on the pole. Is
I'll
that,
look into it, but I think that's the biggest sign they make.
it's only
Like
like,
they'll put up a little higher,
I can put it up.
that's one of the things they asked for, it to be a little higher,
Across the street.
because
so they can't see it.
they're just coming up with things that may help, maybe put it up a little higher,
Yes.
it's a little too low on the pole.
I seen that happen last week where the police had that block down there, guy made up right up there trying to make that.
Apparently, people think that they didn't cut through Orchard because they think the alley's still
Yeah.
open. And the alley's not being open and stuff, we can raise that a little bit. And the last thing I have, woman contacted me about Vine Street, they would like basketball hoop. And basketball hoops are good and bad, it's in the a residential area. I know, I have a basketball hoop by my house, outside, right across from Trautman. But they said the person, and I don't know if they can do this, but the person would be willing to donate the hoop.
They just want one hoop.
I think it has to be up to a certain code.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
You
too,
just
the
can't go to
hoop would have to be at a
Yeah.
certain code, and I don't think.
They don't have nothing up there right now, do
Nothing, no, I mean, they have some playground equipment,
they? But
but
the
it's.
pole's not there to
They
hold
can have
it.
the ones.
No,
that go
there's no
up.
pole on the hoop. And I don't know if you can have, a resident, he's putting a basketball hoop up there at our field.
If you put a basketball hoop, you're gonna have trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to gotta go back and forth, you have to let kids,
You have to put place for.
I mean, I grew up on 12th Avenue, and that was one of the best, a couple years ago, I looked for a place to play basketball in Munhall. There weren't many.
There used to be one on 19th too,
Yeah,
remember?
there was. Vine Street, there was one down, or down Ravine Street, there was one hoop down there. Yeah.
Years ago.
No, there was one down there.
Yeah, okay, I mean, I rode around, and Woodhill was the only one I found.
Years ago, they took the two, maybe when, I don't know who was
Why?
basically, one of you guys.
Because the reason why, because people complained to council hall, like 12th Avenue.
What
Oh,
is it, dawn to dusk?
It was
I mean,
the language.
Sure, it's the language, sure,
Broken
it's been,
beer bottles.
it's been like that for 40 years, because I know we did it when we were.
Yeah, we did it too.
I mean, the broken beer balls,
We did it too.
the swearing and using someone's hose for water. You know?
Somebody says they want it.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have the same problems every year, but we took it away from the kids.
And
Well,
when
the
we
kids have nothing to do.
Well, when we put two hoops
Have
up,
problems.
it's not the kids playing, then you
Yeah.
have adult groups that wanna come and play, people in their
Well,
20s and.
There's guys that were
So
20
they-
years old.
usually they took
I played
one
basketball until I was
hoops
27 years old. I couldn't run anymore. I like to play basketball.
Yeah.
I was short. I was point guard. That's what your point guard. You know, I
If there's
mean,
problems, they'll call the police and the police will handle it. That's what they did back before, right?
yeah.
You get that, Tommy?
I mean, you have the same
The
problem.
chief will handle it.
You have the same, like, one cop said, we had the same problem 30 years ago. I said, that was probably one of your problems,
Hasn't changed.
you know? No, I mean, no, it hasn't changed, Rob. It's kids wanting to play
Hasn't
sports.
changed, yeah.
We swore, you know, I mean, I was telling her, like, I remember we had playgrounds. Remember the playground teachers? And I don't know why, but the day before the last day, we always marked the bench. Finally, the borough got smart, took it out the day before. What are we doing here? After 8 years of burning it, what happened? You know, they got smart. It happens every year.
Broken, the benches break.
Oh, they used to burn.
And, you know,
That was a
baseball did some work recently and they left their wheelbarrow out. So what happened? The kids are pushing each other in the wheelbarrow.
Downhill.
And I probably did the same thing
We
when
were all
I was 12
we
or
were all
13, you
kids.
know. So
forget
I did call the baseball and I said, hey, put the wheelbarrow away, please.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't call the, you know, I'm one of the things to do. Okay, don't put, I didn't call the police or anything. I just called baseball and say, hey, next time you come down, put that wheelbarrow away. They can do it.
I mean, look,
Maybe
you're having
there
problems.
Fine Street, we can add a basketball hoop
Well,
on our, you know.
here's
recreation.
my opinion. So, I mean, you could get comments from someone who, I mean, anyone could comment and say that I think there should be a horseshoe pit there, or I think there should be, I mean, you can't accommodate everyone. But we met up there and what we talked about, there was a specific interest in bocce, but then, you know, we talked about that. Why not put in like a multi-sport surface? If someone wants to facilitate a basketball league up there, they can bring portable hoops up, facilitate a basketball league. I mean, what's to say that someone can't do that? If they want to play deck hockey, they can do that there. That's what we're pursuing with the design. That's what we're gonna present to you guys. If you tell me you want a basketball hoop there, or a pogo stick court, or what, I mean, we can design it and put a price to it, but you know, you're never gonna be able to make everyone happy.
Right.
Yeah, so there was a request for basketball, and then when I was up there back a few months ago, it was actually in the summer, went up and looked at Vine Street Playground, some residents did come out and they have young families and kids, and they would like basketball.
I mean, I love basketball. I play
Or basketball,
basketball. I coach my son's basketball team. I'm a huge proponent of basketball, but you know what? It's
If you put one hoop up there, you'll have less than trouble. If you put full court, that's when 20 people show
I'd
up.
only put one
Put one.
if you put
for a half-court game.
All over.
Half court, 3-on-3 games, 4-on-4s maybe the
Yeah.
most.
if you put a surface in, and you know, you let say, okay, someone wants to use Munhall Youth Sports, or what, I'm making up an organization, wants to facilitate a basketball league there, tell them, okay, you know, you have to bring portable hoops in or whatever. I mean, what's the harm in that?
Rick was talking about this basketball court out here and starting to make use of this court within the borough, within leagues, different types of leagues, different, all kinds. He has all these ideas about what to do with this court out here.
Do we keep it locked up, or?
Yeah, it's just locked up now.
Because, I mean, 4 years ago, there was fights out there every
Yeah.
day. and we had
We're
to lock it
gonna
up.
fight some.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be a conversation.
It's called testosterone.
Yeah.
When Mark Hall found me, I found him back, he wanted to kill me. I mean,
It is what it is, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Mark's a big
sometimes
boy.
today, that it's literally killing someone, but that's conversations that he wants to include Tommy in, and because they would be, you know, helping us decide,
Well,
what are the hours?
I hate
out
to
there?
say it, but it's part of their job.
And what is, Tommy's like, yeah, but if you have tournaments on a Saturday where you have all the neighborhood kids who are playing in their neighborhood, now they're coming up to play the other neighborhoods, and it's
Well,
a daytime
I think
neighborhood.
it's supervised too.
Yeah,
It's-
of course,
and,
yeah.
You know, there's adults there and
They can even open the concession stand.
there's structure.
I mean, I think he's gonna talk to you about all that.
Good idea.
I'm just throwing that out there. Just because we're talking about basketball.
So I think the good message is the fact that we have a grant, okay, that we went and we looked at, and, you know, certainly when the gentleman from Munhall Baseball, or Steel Valley Baseball, I guess it's called now, we can talk to the playground equipment, okay, some of the things that Colin is doing, and I think that's the easier of the two, okay?
Yeah.
That Vine Street is much larger itself, it has some, the actual playground equipment is from the same manufacturer at both. Now, the playground equipment at Vine Street's in a little better shape. It's also larger itself. I think the comments we heard originally were the fact that the residents didn't like the basketball hoops that were out there, and I think maybe we should need to do something novel, is like, maybe we should, what would make sense right there, from the standpoint that could serve the community, and what age group are we looking to serve? I mean, we serve, as far as serving the community at the baseball fields, softball fields, that's serving younger kids. We've got back here, we're serving mostly younger kids, some adults I'm sure walk back there.
Charlie's gonna be doing the younger kids as well in his building.
Right, so maybe it's time to think, well, maybe we could serve,
Adults.
maybe some adults, maybe there's something that could be there. Along the way, I know we talked about bocce and the French version, batong, right there, which, I mean, honestly, I looked up batong, and I think you just need some wood blocks and some sand, and there are little balls around it, and I have no appreciation of it, that's obvious. But the,
I mean, that's a good idea, direct Vine Street to an older population, direct,
Rick or
Trautman to low, or a younger population, because you have baseball there.
someone made that comment when we were up there, saying that they wanted something for, the bocce courts or whatever. For
yeah.
But you look, you research the bocce courts, they're pretty expensive.
Everything's expensive. Any playground equipment,
The top is much.
I remember 12th Avenue,
Play.
there was a little horse,
I mean, from what I saw.
$4,000 for this little,
Is it the springy horse thing?
yeah, it was $4,000, this is 20 years ago.
Oh.
$4,000.
I mean,
But it's got that big spring on it, man.
the playground equipment
$4,000.
that
Business being.
Joe got the quote for at
Yeah, we're
Vine
all
Street
good.
goes like $80,000. I mean, it's not that elaborate either.
Correct, it's 80,000, you look and, like he'll say, we spent 80,000 on this equipment, and you're looking, like, is this it?
So the bottom line, we have to match the total, okay? So there's, 221,000, and we have to match that with either services right there by, the Public Works, et cetera, things like that, or, buying other things that are outside. I mean, so I think Vine Street's huge. It's really huge. That one, I think that one's a tougher decision.
Yeah, there's not much you can do with that space at Trautman. Replace the playground equipment, put a little pavilion in, plant some stuff, that's about it. But, at the,
There's a lot of kids that play that hockey too.
yeah, that's why I like, someone
Oh, we
that I
got that
talked to,
hockey.
they brought up
Doesn't
a
Trautman have that
multi-sport,
big area
surface
there?
or whatever that you can use for
Yeah.
deck hockey.
Huh?
Having a multi-sport surface,
Yeah.
that you could use for deck hockey or basketball or,
Was there
whatever.
that hockey, the
Miller.
tennis
Miller
courts? I
Yeah,
forgot about that hockey.
Campbell Foundation put that up.
Yeah.
Because it's out of the way, nobody knows it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about the one in Steel Valleys. Right, so you got that. And, I don't know if there's an interest, all that much of interest in hockey, because you're talking to two former Steel Valley
It
ice
goes,
hockey
it goes up and
coaches.
down, it goes up and down. When the
Yeah, it
Penguins
does.
do good, it picks up, and when the Penguins don't do good, it goes down. It's,
I
Probably
just,
same in baseball.
yeah, that's why it's been down.
Imagine
Pirates
that's been
have-
down for a long time.
Yeah.
so the last year Steel Valley had an ice hockey team. I was the last coach. That was 2007, okay? Since then, they've participated with the Pennsylvania, the high school leagues, essentially, not the amateur leagues. And they're with, Carrick at this
Okay.
point, okay? And it's Carrick and West Mifflin and Alderdice, right there, and they play in what's called the open division itself. You don't have to be a pure school. So, I don't know, putting up something like that is really, I'll be honest, necessary right there, could the money be better spent, is the question. And I think that's our question anyhow.
Well, my thing is up on Vine Street, up on the hill up there, them kids don't have nowhere to go. Where are they going up there? I mean, if they wanna go play somewhere, they're gonna have to come down and go up by 12th Avenue or Trautman or stuff, so we,
There's nothing up 12th Avenue, there's no hoops.
right, there ain't nothing up there.
Woodhill, Woodhill's the only one that has a full court.
Is it?
Woodhill's the only one.
So, I mean, you gotta put something up there for the kids, up on top of that hill. Cause there's no parks up there. They're kinda like up and out of the way.
Right.
Just like because the house down on Ravine Street, where the old school, they used to have a playground down there. So now the kids on Ravine Street, which there's not a whole lot down there anyways, but there's no playground down there for them because they sold the school. And Nathan's used to keep the playground for the kids. Well, that new place, they parking lot now. And they took down all the stuff, so.
So when do you think you're gonna be back with some suggestions, I guess? Would be the question.
I was hoping to have a preliminary plan put together for Vine Street and Trautman to present to council next week. Probably, I'll have Vine Street done. The grant work that we're doing right now for the statewide LSA took up a lot of time the last couple weeks. But, yeah, we're working on it.
No, I would definitely like to consider putting like just the one hoop, like Dave said.
I mean, you guys tell me what you want, we can include it in the estimate or whatever.
Because it is big enough to have, you know, a nice little half-court basketball game.
Sorry.
And that's been a request around here for a while. The kids want to play. I want the basketball hoops.
I understand, I mean, I love basketball, so I get it. And it's easy to play, all you need's a ball.
It's cheap.
That's it, it's
cheap.
a cheap sport, right?
It costs $15 to play basketball.
Even basketball, you can play.
If you can find a hoop.
With a net.
You see,
I'll make sure that has nets on it.
I would like to see
Yeah, a lot
you
of them
include a
around
hoop
that
up there.
don't
How
have
about the
nets.
donation? I don't know what's down there.
Gotta put the old chain nets back up.
No,
Why? Why?
you couldn't hit it anyway.
Why not? They'd last longer.
You and guns just started.
Yeah, what happens when kids start grabbing them?
Yeah.
They do it-
Kids.
Liability issue.
They do it to the nets too.
At least they give way.
Well, it's their own stupidity if they did.
Anything else? Could I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Wow. Could I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming to the meeting.